a new disgrace for Putin. The Russian authorities asked to lease planes from Ethiopia, but were refused.
I proceed from the assumption that we will continue to fly.
Russia is under sanctions from the United States, and Ethiopian Airlines has strong operational and commercial ties with the US. We operate in accordance with international law and are not prepared to violate it. Ethiopian Airlines is currently expanding its operations and also needs additional aircraft.
Russia established air connections with Ethiopia in 2018, but the share of flights is small, and the resources of Ethiopian Airlines are definitely insufficient to solve the problems in Russian aviation.
This particular airline is incredibly important for facilitating extensive trade, promoting vibrant tourism, and supporting numerous other essential activities that various African countries diligently conduct with the Russian Federation. Especially now when Russia is working a lot on relations between Russia and Africa.
Russia has already tried to conclude similar agreements with Kyrgyzstan, Uzbekistan, Kazakhstan, Qatar, and Kuwait, but nothing came of it. At the same time, people are still being told that everything is fine, and soon there will be hundreds of their own aircraft.
And we plan to produce significantly more than 1,000 aircraft by the year 2030, our very own domestically manufactured aircraft. At the present moment, one of the absolutely main and most crucial tasks, of course, is the extensive production of civil aircraft. This is our top priority. If we talk about the MN-21, more than 70 systems and components have already been produced domestically in Russia as part of import substitution. In August, an aircraft that is fully import substituted will already take off. I was just at the plant in Irkutsk. There, a total of 14 fuselages are almost completely ready and standing by, awaiting further assembly, and another 9 are still being meticulously finalized and prepared for their next stages. As for the Superjet, our very own Superjet is also now fully import substituted, ensuring complete independence from foreign components.
But the number of accidents due to the lack of imported parts continues to rise, and more of them have fatal consequences. Last year, the number of incidents increased by 30% compared to the previous year, but the Russian authorities are trying to conceal the statistics.
Today, the Ufa-Omsk plane sent out a distress signal.
The aircraft caught fire during takeoff.
The flight, which had departed from Magadan the day before, could have ended dramatically.
And people are worried. Is it safe?
It turns out there were 670 incidents in 2023. But then they immediately clarify and say that's 1.3% less than the previously recorded figure, which is a notable decrease.
Than the previous year.
When I read things like this, I wonder, what does it mean, 1.3% less? And last year, was that supposed to be normal?
Yeah.
Well, these failures have become more serious. I mean, if before, say, engine failure was a rare occurrence, now it happens very often. I mean, in such a short period of time. This is official statistics, about 2,000 overdue spare parts. So, if a part is supposed to be replaced, say, after 1,000 hours, but they change it after 1,200 or 1,300 to save money, then...
That's already unsafe.
That's already quite unsafe.
For example, take the recent incident with the 60-year-old AN-24 crash. For many months before that, passengers had been filming videos and writing to the airline about malfunctions during flights. 48 people died.
Rescuers from Russia's Ministry of Emergency Situations arrived at the site of the plane crash. Preliminary inspection shows that there are no survivors at the crash site.
I want to emphasize that it is important not to allow excessive increases in ticket prices while unconditionally ensuring the quality of passenger service and flight safety. These issues must be a priority for both carriers and the Ministry of Transport, as well as other relevant agencies.
But the situation is not getting any better, while Russian lawmakers are dealing with more serious matters.
Dear Vyacheslav Viktorovich, here is the magazine of a major Russian airline, where our citizens, passengers, are being offered French, Italian, and Spanish wines. The same situation exists in other airlines. In other words, we are essentially promoting wine products from countries that are unfriendly to us, while they in turn supply weapons to Kyiv.
And those in Russia who are responsible for technology have been left alone to deal with their problems.
There is probably not a single country in the entire world that produces 100% of the essential components for its very own airplanes. For comparison, both the prominent aerospace giants, Boeing and Airbus, have approximately 9 such significant global suppliers, large established companies located around the world that consistently provide crucial components for the construction of their advanced aircraft. But we are forced to do everything ourselves, on our own.
There was such a country once, the Soviet Union.
Exactly, that's how it was in the Soviet Union.
They just forget to add that they have to twist and turn, lie, and put their citizens at risk of death every day, all because one bloodthirsty old man, instead of retiring, wanted some action.
Right now, Ukrainian forces are making a powerful breakthrough in the defense, which is turning the entire course of the war upside down. The enemy is losing control and is being forced to retreat under the pressure of our heroes. The Kremlin's army was confident in its superiority, but now it has received a crushing blow it did not expect. Thanks to thorough preparation, the armed forces of Ukraine are getting ready to deliver a decisive strike that could change everything. This is not just a counterattack, it's a signal that a revolution on the front has already begun. Will the enemy stop? Don't miss it, coming up in just a moment.
Every voice matters. Join our community, support independent journalism and help us bring you the truth from Ukraine. Become a member of Ukraine today. Join us now.
Ukraine has launched a large-scale project to build fortifications. These are the largest construction works since the beginning of the war. This is reported by the Wall Street Journal. And this is Kyiv's response to the threat of a new but essentially continuous offensive by Russian occupiers. The goal is to stop Putin's troops before they break through deeper inland. An army that digs deeper is an army that survives, military engineer Ole, who is responsible for nearly 300 kilometers of defensive lines as part of the large-scale project, told journalists. The publication writes that the program to strengthen the front has been ongoing for 2 years now. But Ukraine constantly faces problems, delays, Russian strikes, as well as corruption scandals and the arrests of officials. Russian troops have taken advantage of this.
Russian forces have so far successfully broken through several of our primary defensive lines in the eastern regions.
Fortifications are not just needed on time now, they were needed yesterday, or more precisely over 3 years ago. But to be fair, the war itself has changed during this time. If in 2022 the main threat was artillery and the focus was on long trenches, now it's drones. As a result, different types of defensive structures are now needed.
The newly constructed defensive lines are currently being equipped with formidable anti-tank obstacles, specifically the so-called Dragon's Teeth, designed to impede enemy advances. That's what is publicly known. And there are a whole diverse range of other technological devices that we absolutely won't be discussing in detail, but which most certainly deserve the closest, most thorough attention. In addition, the new defensive lines are being built with the changed realities in mind, taking into account the large number of drones in the air. That means, accordingly, robust and protective shelters will be critically needed for all personnel, secure shelters for the highly mobile fire teams, and fortified shelters for the various light artillery systems, such as mortars and field guns, to ensure their operational effectiveness and safety. So, overall, there is a significant and growing hope that Russia will ultimately break its teeth on these formidable defensive lines sooner or later.
In particular, countermeasures have been found for the new tactics used by Russian soldiers. Due to a shortage of heavy equipment, Russia is increasingly using small mobile groups on motorcycles and buggies. Ukrainian soldiers have figured out how to stop them, but we still won't talk about it. After all, we should leave some surprises for the occupiers as well. Returning to the fortifications themselves, 3 lines of defense are currently being built. Different people are responsible for each line. The first line is being built by infantrymen directly near the front. The second line is handled by engineering troops, while the third is being formed by local administrations to protect key cities and regional centers. Ukraine hopes that the construction of a triple-layered defense will prevent a repeat of the breakthroughs in the east. But will this 300-kilometer defensive wall be built without delays and yet another round of corruption scandals? Only time will tell.
For the first time, we lift the curtain on the steel monsters already at the front's doorstep. The Netherlands shocked the world with an unexpected move. The United States has no intention of falling behind. Columns of Patriots are heading straight to Ukraine. These weapons are already on the way, and the enemy can feel panic gripping every one of their trenches. The front trembles at the approach of retribution. So what is this arsenal, primed for total destruction? We'll reveal everything in the next segment. Don't miss it.
New aid for Ukraine from the Netherlands. The country announced the package the day before. It will include American Patriot batteries and missiles for them worth 500 million euros.
Ukraine now needs more air defense and ammunition. This will help Ukraine protect itself and the rest of Europe from Russian aggression. Ruben Brekelmans, Minister of Defense of the Netherlands.
Ukraine has already welcomed this move by the Netherlands.
This is the first such step among NATO countries, and at a time when Russia is trying to escalate its attacks, it will definitely help protect the lives of our people. Volodymyr Zelensky, President of Ukraine.
In the near future, several more countries will announce funding for the purchase of American weapons for Ukraine, said U.S. Ambassador to NATO Matthew Whitaker. He says the Netherlands became the first country to use the new mechanism for financing the supply of American weapons to the armed forces of Ukraine.
I think we will see this move very quickly, definitely in the coming weeks, but some even sooner. The Netherlands are just the first of many. You will see a series of announcements in the coming weeks.
Germany is set to provide 2 air defense systems in the coming days in exchange for being the first to receive new Patriots from the United States. The US and NATO are launching a new mechanism to support Ukraine. The goal of this mechanism is to ensure the rapid delivery to Ukraine of systems and weapons that can be obtained in large quantities from the US in order to strengthen Ukraine's position and create the conditions for achieving a just and lasting peace. Denis Shmyhal, Minister of Defense of Ukraine.
In other words, from now on, NATO countries will purchase weapons from the US and supply them to Ukraine, funding the mechanism through voluntary contributions from member states, which the United States will then use to replenish its own stockpiles. The initiative is the result of agreements between the presidents of Ukraine, the US, and the NATO Secretary General.
Right now, we are considering ensuring the direct supply of Patriot systems from the US to Ukraine. The structures have been established and the infrastructure and logistics are in place. American arsenals, of course, will be available, but Europeans will still be the ones paying. And in the long run, the United States of America will be able to protect itself.
The new initiative, called the Priority List of Needs for Ukraine, will be coordinated by the alliance itself. A list of equipment and ammunition will be compiled based on the requests of the armed forces of Ukraine. NATO will also be responsible for delivering military cargo to the front lines. The main question is, how quickly will American weapons reach Ukraine? Even the alliance hesitates to answer. Will it be a matter of years or just months? The United States has announced that over the next 3 years, it will ramp up production of its Patriot systems, taking into account European purchases for Ukraine. Currently, global demand for air defense systems exceeds supply. For example, Romania, which purchased 4 batteries from the US and last year transferred 1 of them to Ukraine. The next 3 systems will only arrive in 2 years, but Romania needs them now, as Russian drones occasionally enter its territory without authorization. The most recent drone incident was in March. From Brussels, Anna Hrishina. We are Ukraine, Marathon. United News.
The sky has a new hunter. A Ukrainian armed forces drone is going on the hunt. Its targets are Grad rocket launchers, artillery, trucks loaded with ammunition, and even entire enemy companies. And that's just the beginning of the list, which it mercilessly wipes off the map. The Danish drone, now an ally of Ukraine, doesn't just fly anymore, it turns the front line into an arena of deadly precision. Relentless work, iron endurance, unwavering will. You have to see it with your own eyes.
There, I think I see some movement. Hey, look, right next to it.
We can hit it right now.
Come on, closer.
This is the work of the 401th Separate Unmanned Systems Regiment, the Hawks. The guys in the sky are watching the enemy and identifying targets for strikes thanks to the Danish bird, the RQ-35 Hydrone.
This beauty often operates at night. It's a Danish-made drone that conducts reconnaissance missions, and right now it's already ready to detect enemy targets.
On average, the crew makes 5 flights per night. Overall, the intensity of work and the number of flights depend on many factors. This includes enemy jamming. Our own jamming systems also operate during air raid alerts.
The RQ-35 Hydrone is ideal for nighttime operations. It is a quiet, mobile, and reliable reconnaissance drone. It gives fighters a real advantage, allowing them to see the enemy while remaining unnoticed, accurately adjust strikes, and respond in real time. It can stay in the air for over an hour and a half. After launching the drone into the air, the operators monitor it on the computer screen. One operator controls the drone, while the other watches the camera feed.
Nighttime operations possess certain distinct nuances, primarily because we meticulously work with thermal signatures and additionally employ a particular clever life hack, specifically switching the camera to its daytime mode to thoroughly check if any approaching vehicles are driving with their bright headlights on.
The guys locate targets and relay the coordinates.
Good evening, Mr. Operations Officer. We see movement in the area of interest. There, look, where are you looking?
How do we find targets? Well, we probably know this area like the back of our hand by now. After all, we've been flying here for a year, so we more or less know their logistics routes and when their rotations happen. This helps us find and neutralize them.
Sometimes the enemy complicates the work of our drones, trying to jam the signal or feed false coordinates.
There are a certain number of satellites. We don't use them, but the aircraft can see them. They're fake, yes. This indicates that someone is feeding it those coordinates. That means the Russian knows we're here.
And even if the drone temporarily loses connection with the operator, it still completes its mission autonomously.
If there is absolutely no established connection between the radio station and the aircraft, it will automatically return to the pre-programmed mission that we have specifically designed for it.
And such a drone can find various targets to strike.
We've targeted grads. We're working on counter-battery missions, meaning enemy artillery. We also target enemy personnel during their rotations. The same goes for vehicles involved in these rotations, transporting personnel. These are both passenger cars and trucks.
And importantly, this drone is reusable. Our UAV pilots successfully bring it back after every mission.
Sometimes it happens that the plane lands somewhere and we can't find it. But then a farmer plows the field and finds our little plane, and they return it to us. Thank God everyone is working together for victory.
Why is it circling around like that?
That's going down.
These reconnaissance drones are the eyes of the Ukrainian military. Day and night, they keep the enemy under control. And it's thanks to these little birds that the armed forces of Ukraine see everything and strike first. Vlada Tsimbalenko, Ilona Koval. We are Ukraine. Army TV. Marathon. United News.
That's all from me for now. I was with you, Darina Hutsakalo. There will be even more hellish news from the front in our next broadcast. In the meantime, don't forget to subscribe and hit the like button. See you soon.